Hello, I am here, 8 o'clock, right on time. Let's see if I can just adjust this a little more. Yeah, that's a bit better. Because all you can see is head and shoulders, which looks a bit weird, I think. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Efwaduku is in the house. How you doing? Hello, lovely. Lovely to have you on here. Thank you guys for jumping on. Your timing is impeccable, just like mine. So yes, it is great to have you guys on here. Hi, Ifwa. How are you doing? How has Valentine's Day been for you? Has it been good? Aisha Ankara, thank you for joining, and Yemi as well. Do share this video. We are speaking about colorism today. I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think it's one that we definitely need to have. So guys, let me know what you think. Sorry, this thing is, I am not used to tying my hair. Okay, so I think that's okay. Okay, cool. Right, Afolabi, how are you doing, Afolabi? How are you doing? How are you doing? Adwa Prempe, hello, my love. How are you? It's great to have you on here. Hi, Barry, how are you? Long time no speak. Hello again, Anita. Everyone says, I'm so good, and was Val's Day has been really blissful. That's nice. Tell me more. Joyce Wilson, how are you doing? Thank you for jumping on here. Guys, as I said, we are having a conversation about colorism. Nana Yao and Tim, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. I hope everybody has had a lovely day. And if you don't have somebody special to share that day with, I hope that you have been good to yourself. I hope you've done something nice for yourself. Hi, Belladonna. How are you, Kira? Thank you for jumping on here as well. We are going to be talking about colorism. Lols Loza, lovely to have you. I don't know that name, so I would assume that you're new on here, which would be lovely. I always love welcoming new people. It's always nice to have new people on here. So not that I don't appreciate the old ones, please don't abandon me. But yes, it's great to grow this platform, because the more voices, the merrier. And I am just gonna tell you a little bit about why I started Speak with Dilys, and I do this every week really quickly just for the benefit of new people. Hi Shirley Ann, how are you doing, my love? Hey, do you know what? I thought so. Hi Lorraine, do you know, I kind of thought it might be you. Lovely to have you on here. Great to have you on here. Michael Joyce Tessa, thank you for joining. And Belladonna says, you look gorgeous. Thank you very much. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. And Dora Owusu, lovely to have you amazing people on here, and Patience as well. So yes, guys, I do like to acknowledge people, because like I always say, it's Sunday night. You could be chilling, you could be doing all sorts of things with your time, but you chose to spend it with me. So naturally, I'm grateful and I'm honored. So thank you very much. So Speak with Dilys. Why did I put Speak with Dilys together? I believe that there are a lot of conversations that we need to have that we aren't having on a number of topics. Last week, the show was about relationships, specifically whether it's possible for another woman to steal another woman's man. I don't need to tell you the answer. You can catch it on the replay. If you're a woman, I suggest you watch it, because the men know the answer to that question already. However, it may not be for the reasons that you think, okay? So, Princess, thank you for joining. And Mawali, hello dear, looking gorgeous, darling. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like the look. I've already told them on the other page the reason for the look. But yeah, I just thought, you know what, let me just wrap this head, and it's called trying a ting. All right. Hello, Sando. How are you doing? Long time no see. Happy Valentine's Day to you. So yes, why did I put the show together? As I said, really about having conversation that I think is necessary for us to have, but not just to speak and just to talk, but to also acknowledge the fact that we have the power to make a difference and to make a change at a local level, you know, within our community, and, you know, to the wider, you know, public at large. So it's not just to have a nice little chat on a Sunday. I am hoping that people are able to really dig deep and address the issues that we speak about in a very personal way, and to make a conscious effort and decision to make those changes for themselves. So that is the reason for Speak with Dilys. So it's about things that matter, people who count, and information that I believe sincerely needs to be heard. Malcolm Pryor, thank you so much for joining. Julia Roberts, Zilla Winner Mentality, love that name, and Diane Augustine, thank you, darling, for joining. So, as I said I was going to do from last week, It's for the benefit of those that maybe didn't catch the initial description of what the topic was about. I thought I'm going to just read it out so that people know what we're talking about. So I entitled the 6th episode of Speak with Dilys, Colour Me Bad. You know I love my little quirky titles, and then it reminded me of that song back in the 90s. But I'm not going to be singing it for you today. Hi, Ade, how are you? Are you wearing... No, I'm not wearing a name tag, Ade. I'm wearing a little necklace thingy, which I can't remember where I got it from, but I do know I've had it for probably about 10 years and I've worn it about twice. So there you go. So, Colour Me Bad. And I wrote this description for this episode. And what I said was, I am a black woman, pretty obvious, yet I have been told I'm pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And this happened when I was a lot younger. I think I was about 12, which I thought was just nonsense. However, I have heard that, to come to think of it, when I was working in Brent Council, when I was working in customer service, and a black couple said that to me. Lighter skinned is usually the preferred option to depict black women / people on the cover of magazines in order not to alienate readers. Lighter skin is said to be the preferred option for men, apparently. Dark is considered by many to be unattractive or inferior, but why? Where did this come from? Are we still fueling this beast? What is it doing to us as a people? Mothers bleach the skins of their babies to appear fair-skinned, but at what cost? Colorism is an ism that has caused all kinds of hurt, inferiority complexes, and discrimination, and rejection amongst black people. Is it not time that this thing was a thing of the past? Colour Me Bad, 6th episode of Speak with Dilys. So that is what we're going to be talking about. And yes, I am very much aware that there is colorism within the Asian community, but today I want to speak about the colorism that we do have within the black community. It is something that is there. It is something that has been there from time immemorial. It is something that has its origins really from slavery. So, let's have this conversation. But before we start, how are my people on here feeling? If you're feeling good, give me a thumbs up. If you're feeling a bit rubbish, give me a sad face emoji. But I've never actually had a sad face emoji. Today might be the first day because it's Valentine's. So I don't know if you're feeling overworked and underloved. Don't know how much you can take. So who knows? How are you feeling? I'm getting the thumbs up. That's good. Hi, Mariama. You made it. Well done, sis. Good for you. Brilliant, Lorraine. I'm glad you're feeling good. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. I'm happy for you guys. That's really excellent. I'm impressed. Denise James, lovely to have you. Kathy, always great to have you on here. Stephanie, hi, how are you doing? Lovely to see you on here. So yeah, you're feeling good. That's great. So I'm glad that everybody is feeling good. So I hope that you guys will share this video. If I can have like 5 people right now, just press the share button to invite more people to watch this live and have a wider conversation. That would be amazing. So just 5 of you now. Let's see, Wagwan. Let's see if you guys can make it happen. Show me some love. That would be amazing. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are feeling good, and I'm really interested to see the different perspectives that you guys have on this topic, and whether you have had any personal experience of colorism or whether you have witnessed it. So I think it's really... thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. So Kathy shared it. What are the rest of you guys waiting for? Hi, Eddie. Thank you for coming on here. And Alison, a sub for a J, and my darling Ama Amwako. Guys, so let's get to it now. So where did colorism start from? I think for those of us that are aware of what it actually is, I think we know where it started from, or where we can pinpoint the genesis of colorism, which was really from slavery, because the slave masters favored the lighter skinned slaves, predominantly because it was partly from their doing, because many of the lighter skinned slaves were as a result of the rape of the black slave women. So they were often favored over the darker skinned Negroes, or those that had very prominent features, i.e. very African features. So when you hear that term house nigger was for the lighter skinned Negroes that were allowed to work in the house, and then the darker ones like me would be there picking cotton. So how come for something that's happened so long ago, do we still see this playing out on a daily? On a daily, we see it in music videos. We see it TV, because when you think about it, one of the things that we're going to be speaking about is the recent situation between Rochelle Humes and gosh, my eyesight, and Rochelle Humes, that is a bit of a tongue twister, and Candice Braithwaite. Gosh, that is a hard one to get my tongue round. Oh, Nick, lovely to have you on. And Nicky is my brother. He's tuning in from Fatfish. Denise Brewster, thank you for joining. Philip Temmie, lovely to have you guys on here. So we will get back to that story in a second. But as I was doing my research, I came across this really interesting description of colorism. And it's called Genesis of US Colorism and Skin Tone Stratification. And it was written by a guy called Robert L. Rees. You see, me, I like to give props to the people that I get my knowledge from. And guys, there's so much plagiarism on Facebook. It can get a little bit annoying, and it doesn't show real authenticity. So for those of you that are watching that are very fond of taking quotes and not giving the credit to the people you take it from, don't do that. It says here, studies show lighter skinned black people are advantaged on a number of social indicators, a phenomenon called colorism. These studies generally contend preferences for light-skinned and or mulatto slaves endured the post-bellum period to shape social outcomes into today. Following this idea, other studies examine differences in social outcomes between mulattoes and blacks in the 19th century, but few empirically connect antebellum life of post-bellum mulatto-black stratification. With that in mind, I examined whether the socio-economic differences between mulattoes and blacks, I need to scroll down, varied across geographic space in proportion to places reliant on slave labor and the characteristics of its free African American population. This allows me to examine whether differences in economic status between mulattoes and blacks are a result of mulatto advantage in the form of privileged, and we're going to be looking at that word privileged positions during slavery. My results reveal that mulattoes have higher occupational statuses relative to blacks in places where slavery was more prominent and where free mulattoes were literate. This suggests the interracial hierarchy established during slavery was more likely to be replicated in places where slavery was more important, and mulattoes were able to capitalize on freedom by leveraging their literacy into better economic statuses after emancipation. These results support the idea that skin color stratification was initiated, at least in part, by practices during chattel slavery and offers some plausible mechanisms for its transmission. Guys, so basically what that study is saying is, it is not only is it true that there is such a thing as colorism. Somebody put there, it's propaganda. I'm interested to see why they would think that, because it's all around us. And I think it would be quite difficult as a black person to honestly say that you are not aware of it, unless you don't know what colorism actually means. And what this person has done is give a really clear outline. Obviously, he's doing a study on it as to where it originated from, and whether through his studies one can honestly say that this is how colorism is manifesting in the workplace. Socially, you're seeing it everywhere. Sando says, I'm not sure that concept resulting from slavery, for example, colorism plays such a prominent role in Ghana traditionally. That is not to say that colorism does not exist in Ghana, but this was specific to the United States, what I just read out. But yes, of course, it has got, its fingers in different places for different reasons. And we're going to explore what those different reasons are. But what do we think that the impact of colorism is on us as a people? I think what it has done is it has allowed for a very dangerous divide amongst us as black people. And I think, Joe said, could you post the study and author, please? For some reason, when I'm doing a live, I'm not able to actually post. But I will give you the name of the person. If somebody can put it in the comments box. His name is Robert L. Rees. And Rees is spelled R-E-E-C-E. And the piece is called Genesis Genesis of US Colorism and Skin Tone Stratification. So if you put it into Google, you should be able to find it. And once this is done, if you remind me, I will put it in the comments box once we're finished. So the name is Robert L. Rees. So what do we feel are the impact that we have had to suffer as a result of colorism? Now, like I said, when I was younger, I was told, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Now, I've always been a bit mathy, so I didn't take that as a compliment because as far as I was concerned, it wasn't. Either you think I'm pretty or you don't. The moment you say to me, I'm pretty because, for a black girl or a dark-skinned girl, what you're telling me is that generally dark-skinned girls are not pretty. Now, when I look at how a lot of dark-skinned women sometimes show up, those words have a huge impact on people's self-esteem. I have a daughter who is very dark. She took her dad's complexion, much darker than me. I made it a point, I consciously complimented my daughter for as long as I can remember, telling her how beautiful her color was, because I knew the world that she was going to be stepping into. So never was there a situation whereby I was having to play catch up or having to hear her being spoken about negatively and then having the presence of mind to now counter it. And I think this is where we have to be proactive in addressing issues like this. So I wasn't waiting for her to go to school and be told that she wasn't as pretty as a light-skinned girl. I was telling her from day dot how beautiful she was. And I guess, it helped that other people fed into that narrative for my daughter as I did. I was horrified to find out some years ago that there are women that actually bleach the skin of their babies. I could not believe it. But it was at that point that I realized that the problem and the issue in regards to colorism is absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge because at the point at which you will actually bleach the skin of your beautiful baby, then you have got some real deep-seated issues with yourself and with your identity. And there's no excuses for it. There is no excuses for it. Let me read a couple. Judges says I'm disgusted. So was I. I mean, I was absolutely shocked when I learned of this. And I actually saw a lady with a little baby, and I could tell that child's skin had been tampered with. Personally, I was so angry. For me, I said that is child abuse. That really is child abuse. But this is a woman, or these are women that clearly hate themselves and are projecting that hate onto their children. And they're telling their children that if you're dark, you are not beautiful. I personally, I can't get my head around it. There's certain things that are so alien to me that I cannot relate to that thought process. But this is something that people are really struggling with. And therefore, how do we address it? And how do we solve such deep-rooted self-hate? Because that is what it is. There isn't really any other... There's no other description for it as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what your views are, but for me, I can't see how you can be happy to be a black woman or a black man and you are happy to go as far as bleaching your baby's skin. I think it's just nonsense. In terms of relationships, I've heard many times, women say men prefer lighter skinned women. And I always say that's an absolute load of rubbish. And I think as women, at being dark-skinned and being a dark-skinned woman, I am an authority on that because I've been a dark-skinned woman for nearly 50 years. And I'm telling you that it is nonsense that men prefer light-skinned women. The men that like light-skinned women like light-skinned women. They just may be more vocal than the ones that like dark-skinned women. And I think as women, the problem that we have, and it kind of touches on the show we had last week, that when you buy into stuff that other women have said or other women feel, it distorts your mind from the actual reality. A man doesn't date a woman just because of her complexion. There are other things that have to work in tandem and the complexion may be a part of it. So if a man is a breast man, or he likes a woman who's got big hips, or likes a woman who is voluptuous, or is, like an overweight woman, because some men like women that are very, very overweight, then that will be his preference. It's not just the fact that she's light skinned. Because if I'm not being funny, if a man is a boobs man and he likes slim women as well, and this woman has got, big boobs, but she's 400 pounds, he's not going to just like her because he's a boobs man. There's other things that work together that forms that attraction. And you've got to understand that the dating pie is a huge pie. So if a guy likes a woman just because she's light skinned, why would you even like a guy that is that stupid and that shallow? If it's a preference, then no problem. But if it's a preference to the detriment of dark-skinned women, to say, I only like light-skinned women because dark-skinned women are ugly, then clearly there's an issue. Then you're not, a particularly intelligent human being. In which case, why would you as a dark-skinned woman be bothered about the opinion of somebody so retarded? I wouldn't really care. So I think that some of it as well, as dark-skinned women, we also should get a little bit of, how can I put it? Not just some self-respect, but also some self-love. Why would you want to be attractive to a group of men who really have no semblance of intelligence for their own people? It's foolishness. And what you also have to understand is there are some black men, black like me, who have sisters of the same complexion as them, and yet still they will make derogatory remarks to them because of the complexion of their skin. And this is something that, as black people, we see in families all the time. Woe betide you if you are the darker skinned sibling in a family of light skinned siblings. That's the truth. Rodney Jerkins is called Dark Child. Yeah, his company is called Dark Child Records. He called himself Dark Child because he was the darkest kid amongst the family. And sometimes people will make comments because we're that stupid that we will make comments, derogatory comments, nasty comments about. Sometimes the person isn't even dark. They're just a little bit darker than the rest of their siblings. And from childhood to adulthood, people will make negative comments about the color of their skin. It's dangerous, and it messes up with people's minds, and it messes with people's self-esteem. But why do we allow it to happen? Parents do it. So therefore, when outsiders are coming to do it, to reinforce that negative colorism nonsense, that child really doesn't have anywhere to go. They grow up feeling, I'm less attractive than this person because of their complexion. And it's just so wrong. It's just so wrong. I've got two kids, one who is mulatto, one who is really dark. But I never made either one of my children feel more important than the other. You came from my womb. Therefore, whatever color you come out as, it's irrelevant. You are black children. Let me read some of your comments. Okay, because I can see a lot of you are posting. So Kathy said, I found my roommate many years ago trying to bleach her skin in our bathroom. We stood in the shower and cried together. This is the USA. That's painful. That's painful. And for somebody to be confronted with their issue of colorism and to be crying in a shower, I guess it goes to show you how deep this thing is. And how much people of darker complexion have grown to hate themselves and not appreciate the beauty that they are because society is saying dark is bad. Dochi says this is an underlying issue here. Yao says it's sad because lately only strong-minded black keep their original color. Even the celebrities are lightening up. Too bad. Yeah, I personally, I don't get it. Michaela says, some couples are choosing to get white kids at insemination. They're crazy. Mariama says there is an increase in men bleaching in Ghana. I've seen it. And it is, do you know what? If it wasn't so ridiculous, I would laugh. They look absolutely horrific and horrendous. And what's worse is when they start to get those big black, almighty righteous pimples in their faces. It's so unattractive. It's horrible. Julie says insecurity on another level. It is indeed. Sandra says we like wise women. Amen. Samila says just as some men like light skin, others like dark skin. Exactly. You will always find a good man who appreciates your skin tone. I will read that again and I will read it slowly. Just as some men like light skin, others like dark skin. You will always find a good man who appreciates you and your skin tone. I don't know how many times dark-skinned women need to hear that. No guy has ever said to me, Dilys, I really like you, but you're too black. No man has ever said that to me. I've never had problems in the dating world. The fact of the matter is, maybe some of us dark-skinned women are going after men who aren't attracted to us, but from the sound of it, don't seem like particularly sensible men anyway. Just like how you may go after a man that likes petite women, and me being 5'9", he's not attracted to me. I can't just put it down to the fact that, oh, it's because I'm dark-skinned. And to be honest, there is some of that going on. There is some of that going on because of the insecurities around being dark-skinned. Some of the rejection isn't just down to your complexion, I have to say. Some of it is down to the fact that your insecurity is unattractive. It's unattractive. I remember watching a video some time back on Facebook where this lady was saying that she was in a club and this guy just basically walked straight past her, and I think he went to some lighter skinned girl, and she was upset. And I'm thinking, listen, if you're going to be that basic, that it was because of the complexion of your skin as to why he didn't want to be with you, then maybe look at other things. Did she have a better figure than you? Whatever. But the fact is, people like others, maybe not necessarily the color, because of the color. And that's what I'm trying to say. It may not just be the color. It may be the fact they don't find you attractive, period. You know, not the fact that you're too dark. Unless the guy actually opens up his mouth and says that. And yes, sometimes you can tell that some guys are that shallow. My point is, as a dark-skinned woman, why would you be interested in somebody like that? Like when I posted the video to promote this particular episode during the week, and somebody made a comment that, yeah, you know, if you're a light-skinned woman in the group of dark-skinned women, you would be, you know, a guy will naturally look at the light-skinned woman. I said, that's some BS. That's absolute nonsense. And I'm telling you it's nonsense as a dark-skinned woman. When I walk into a room, trust me, I don't care how many colors are there, you will look. Why? Because I'm 5'9". When I'm in heels, I'm 6'1". You're naturally, automatically, people will look at me. I don't put it down to the fact that, oh, if I was light-skinned, because I'm light-skinned, that's why. Because likewise, if I was in a room full of white people and I was the only black person, of course I'm going to stand out. But it doesn't mean I'm standing out because I'm the prettiest person in the room or I'm the best looking person in the room. So I think some of these things that we've told ourselves is nonsense, but we have to break it down and not be too quick to put it under one umbrella. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes we know that it's a color thing. But what I'm saying is when it comes to attraction, when it comes to the dating arena, you need to pull it back a little bit. Because I'm telling you, you know, I have somebody that, you know, just looking at my complexion completely does it for him. It's like, all I ever hear is, I love your skin tone. And I'm told that constantly. I am nowhere near light skin, not even close. So if one man can appreciate how dark I am, why is it that you out there, you feel that a man cannot appreciate your darkness and your beauty? And that just because he's a man and he's a black man, he automatically favors light-skinned women. It's such rubbish, it's unbelievable. And sometimes we have to deal with the reality of what's really biting us. So let me just park that whole dating thing. And before I do, actually, for some odd reason, and this was never intentional, back in the day when I used to go raving, my close friends just happened to be very light-skinned or mixed race. I don't know why. I was always the darkest amongst them. And what I used to find quite amusing was when a couple of us would be out and I was with my son, who's very light-skinned, in a stroller, everybody would talk to my friends, assuming that they were the mum, and I was probably just, you know, the maid or the au pair or something, which, you know, whatever. You know, and like I say, it is what it is. But I remember when we used to go out clubbing, there was never a time I could ever recall my light-skinned friends being chatted up and me sitting there redundant. It never happened, ever. Ever. And that was when I also, like I said, for years, I've observed this whole dating thing between men and women. So everything within that arena, I pay attention to. And that's when I realized, hold on a minute, this nonsense of men only like light-skinned girls is rubbish. It's absolute nonsense, you know. And I realized at that point that, look, that pie is big enough for all of us to enjoy from. There's one of my friends, I mean, gorgeous. You know, all my friends are beautiful. Green eyes. She's very light-skinned, beautiful hair, and all of that. And even the hair thing. Those of you that know me, I have long hair. My hair is about here. I've got long hair. People would put their hand in my head to check that it wasn't a weave. Man, we dark chicks, we suffer. You know, because we don't associate certain things with dark-skinned people. But it's up to us to educate people. You know, and educate our own and look at the kind of messages that we're telling our children. I mean, me and my friend, I remember the days when we used to go to this club called Singers. They used to call us Ebony and Ivory. Now that to me shows that they put both of us on the same level in terms of beauty. You understand? Nobody ever was like, oh, can you move aside so I can chat to your light-skinned friend there? It just was never my reality. So some of it, you know, dark-skinned ladies do begin to appreciate who you are. There are enough men out there that love you and love your complexion. Stop chasing after the useless men who only like light-skinned women and don't see anything else. They're not looking at their, you know, whatever attributes they have or anything like that. Why would you want a man like that? Like, seriously, for what? What are you going to do with somebody that's shallow? Anyway, let me read some of your comments. So, Sabrina said, just as some men like light skin. Oh, yes, I read that out. That was a beautiful comment. Diana Augustin says, but we have to question why in the sports world, such as basketball, the majority of black men have light-skinned women on their arms. For the same reason, because we somehow feel light is better and allows you to get up that ladder a little bit quicker. The same way a lot of black men would prefer to, no, let me rephrase that some black men in the entertainment world would choose to marry a white woman over a black woman with all kind of nonsensical reasons as to why, when it should really just be, I just like white women, that, oh, black women are too this and black women are too that. So unfortunately, we have been dumped on in terms of our character, in terms of our looks, in preference for something else, when really and truly the issue is the fact that you as a man, you are shallow, and you lack respect for yourself, and you're self-hating because you came out of a black womb. And from the moment you cannot respect where you came from, don't then now be on this earth looking around and disrespecting people that look like your mother and your sisters. That's just foolishness. Sandra said, judging something or someone by the cover externalities is not a wise thing to do, but we often get caught in it. We do indeed. Anita says we need to stop listening to the lies. It's not true that men are not attracted to dark-skinned women. I know. Go and check my inbox. You'll be very surprised. Men of all different shapes, colors, and sizes, nationalities, everything. Short, fat, skinny, tall ones, they are all in my inbox. I don't bleach according to the message I get in my inbox. So anybody that's trying to tell you that men only like light-skinned women, it is a lie. Anyway, let me go on. We need to stop listening to the lies. It's not true that men are not attracted to dark-skinned women. Black people have no business perpetuating these negative stereotypes. Absolutely right. I could not put it better myself. Hey, Ade, you have this thing, that you want me to just to be reading and reading and reading and reading. Hey, Chineke. Why are you guys laughing? Because I said, come and check my inbox. But it's true. Listen, for those of you that... didn't I tell you what happened in my inbox earlier on? And that's just one of many. I don't know, Pakistani men really seem to have a thing for me. You know, but all my marriage proposals. Oh, anyway, let me know. That's in a whole other show. Ade, I will get to your comment in just a second. Diane says, it started with the white man divide. They enslaved that mentality within us. Look at South Africa. The segregation has caught that. That's true. Tina says, it's the other way around too. I've met women with preference for light-skinned men. That's very true. However, the difference between that is you don't hear dark-skinned men complaining that they are deemed to be uglier or not good looking because they're dark-skinned men. No, there's a lot of fine-ass dark-skinned men, as we know. Hi, John, how are ya? Evelyn says, hello, Dilys. I got the hearts. Thank you very much, Evelyn. How are you doing? It's lovely to have you on here. Smilia says, word, your insecurities are unattractive. They are unattractive. Senator, I had a discussion with a lady in Ghana once. She told me that if she married a white person, her child would be white. I had to argue with her for about 20 minutes before she reluctantly agreed with me that the child coming from her womb would at least be equally black. Oh gosh, black people, we really do need to deal with this thing called slave mentality. Zhang Young says, Dr. Amosaji, sorry, the reflection is a bit difficult to read. I'm really grateful and thankful for what Dr. Amosaji has done for me. I have been, guys, I'm going to see these idiots on here. I beg you, Anita, if you could kindly just delete this nonsense, I would be very grateful. Somebody has come up with some foolishness. When people just disrespect your space. Yeah, if it's anyway, I'm not even going to bother read out their name. Monica says, it's so refreshing hearing this from a beautiful dark-skinned woman. As a lighter-skinned woman, I've constantly been made to feel like I need to dim my light or be less confident in myself to accommodate others. And I'm glad you made that comment, Monica, because I also was going to touch on the fact that in all of this, light-skinned women also have their own issues as well, where they're somehow having to apologize for being light-skinned because of the narrative that's going on around dark versus light. And it isn't healthy. And like I said, some of it is about your insecurity. You know, I've heard people say before that, oh, well, if they've got light-skinned friends, what chance do they have? Because guys will automatically go to the light-skinned friend. I'm like, either you don't believe that you're good looking enough, or your light-skinned friend is just prettier than you are. Not because she's light-skinned, maybe physically, aesthetically, people find her more attractive, not just because she's light. So some of it, I think we need to, address ourselves. John said, Dilys is always the prettiest in the room. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. That is so sweet. But you're biased. Victoria says, a few years ago, a club called, District, had a policy to only let light-skinned girls in and not... I heard about that. And this is the kind of foolishness that... And this is the thing. This is where, and I'm going to get onto this, that how do we resolve these issues? And one of them is about... I'm going to come back to that. It's so important what you just said, Victoria, that I don't want to mix it up with the other things that I'm going to be bringing up here. Let me... Yes, in the UK, Ade. Nana Moore says, looking beautiful and happy Valentine's Day to you and your followers. Thank you very much. That's lovely of you. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Diane says, yep, self-hating. Thank you very much, Victoria, for posting that link. Alison Asafo just said, and she's dark and she's got beautiful, beautiful color. Says, I love my dark skin and can't wait for summer to get even darker. That's my skin and my man loves who I am. My children are black and white mix, but they love who they are. As I have always told them, beauty comes from your heart. That's beautiful. And this is what I'm saying about us as parents and as black people taking on a wider responsibility to address these issues. It's not going to go away if we just jump on Dilys' Speak with Dilys, and after the hour is up, we just leave it there and end of conversation. You have kids, you have friends, have these conversations, carry on the conversation, and make sure that you consciously instill those values in your children. It's important. Like I said, I saw how dark my daughter was. And I thought, I know how this world operates because I know what I was subjected to as a dark-skinned black child in England, and I thought her being even darker, and she's beautiful. If you've seen my daughter before, she's beautiful. She's got, anyway, her hair is just amazing. But I thought, I'm not going to have those self-hating black people project their nonsense onto my child. So from day one, I kept saying, Isabel, your color is so beautiful. I said, the day I see you bleaching, I will kill you, and we would laugh about it. So when she was released into that big wide world as a young girl that's now discovering her identity and who she is, she knows that, yes, she is beautiful. My daughter's like 5'11", lovely girl. She's my daughter, so I'm not going to talk too much about her. So let's just look at some other areas of this colorism issue. Why do dark-skinned women and girls feel unattractive? I think we've covered that. The other thing that I want to talk about, which I think is very important, we've touched on it a little bit. There is a trauma, and I talk about trauma a lot. There is a trauma that dark-skinned people suffer as a result of constantly being told how unattractive they are. And the trauma that they face is akin to the trauma that we face generally as Black people in regards to racism. I don't know if you remember when I first did, on the first series of Speak with Dilys, I did, that was after my rant of that silly woman that made a comment about supporting me, her being white and me being Black, and her basically doing me a favor by supporting me as a Black woman. I just went ballistic on her because she needed some educating, and trust me, she got educated. What happened after that was I realized how hurt we were as Black people. This was following George Floyd's murder. And as I said back then, that it created a space for Black people to have their voices heard for the first time, where the whole world was paying attention to what we had to say and what we had been suffering as Black people. And as a result of that, one of the shows, I called it the Healing Hour, where I wanted people to share their first experience or their most painful experience of racism and see how we could begin to heal from that trauma. And whilst doing my research, I found that trauma post-slavery is a real thing. And from how I had to address my emotions from that period, I realized that I too had unresolved hurt and trauma from being brought up in a racist society. And it was difficult because as is often the case with trauma, you don't always know that it's there. And as I've often described trauma as that stagnancy of emotion that should really be flowing, and because it doesn't move, that stagnancy that really is like a swamp now manifests itself in so many different ways. From what I have heard and from what I am hearing, the effects of colorism is no different to our brothers and sisters. And I'm saying that for that reason, it is imperative and it is crucial that we begin to pay attention and accept that it exists. Because some of the problems that we have when it comes to these issues is because either we don't understand it or it's uncomfortable to be, an uncomfortable topic to be discussed, we are dismissive of it. We pretend that it's not there. That doesn't help. And it's the same way with racism. You're told in this country, oh, well, you just got a chip on your shoulder. Oh, you're playing the race card. It's racial gaslighting. It's racial gaslighting, trying to convince somebody that something that they're suffering from and something that they are experiencing isn't really there. It's gaslighting. And let us not be guilty of doing it when it comes to colorism. Because we have it. Look, I remember there was a group on Facebook a while back. I was trying to look for the page today, but I couldn't find it because I couldn't quite remember the name. It was a page set up, and this is not, and I do not want to hear any derogatory comments about Nigerians, because trust me, Nigerian people are my people. Don't go there. But I'm just telling you this just to make a point. There was a group set up by some Nigerians, and it was a huge group, many thousands of followers, talking solely about the fact that Ghanaians are Black, as in too Black, too dark skin. I have never, ever, and that includes Britain first, come across a group of such affected, self-hating, misinformed, unintelligent, ridiculously foolish people. Absolutely shocking. What I found even more disgraceful were dark-skinned people trying to justify why they weren't that dark. And I was looking at these bunch of people thinking, in fact, you need a double dose of Jesus. You've got some issues. I can't remember the name of the group. I don't know if any of you guys have come across this group, but it was absolutely embarrassing. I was ashamed to see that something like that existed and people actually participating in the foolishness. I was so embarrassed for them. I thought, really? But this is where we are. And that's why Bob Marley wrote that song, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Because I am telling you, the fact that the chains may physically be broken, up here, there is a lot that we have to learn. A lot we have to learn. I want to go back to Ade's comment, because I know that it is something. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Guys, how are you feeling so far? Are you enjoying this discussion? Give me some love. Can I get some hearts or something? If you're enjoying this discussion, if you think that you're learning something, if it has changed your mindsets about stuff, if you're going to be more intentional about things in terms of the conversation you have and in educating others, please give me some hearts. That's wonderful to see. And I would like to see more of you, doing that. I'm hoping that we're not just having this conversation because it's a cute conversation to have, but that we are actually going to be, intentional about fighting this thing called colorism. We need to be intentional about these things. This is not just about having a conversation because, it's a talk show. This is really about change. Do you understand? Because trust me, like I said last week, there's so many things I could speak about that would make me really, really popular, but that's not what this is about. This is about really trying to help change one life or one person's perspective to the betterment of other people, because one person's change is like 10 people's change because of that ripple effect. And it's so important that we do that. So guys, I do appreciate you watching, and I'm very grateful for you. And if those of you feel that this topic is important, just 5 of you on here that's watching, please share this video and let more people of color, have this conversation and see what we're about. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes left. So male perspective. First experience of what is now known as colorism happened when my 2 brothers and I moved from the UK in the 70s. Bit of context. My dad was Nigerian and my mum was Tuareg, Egyptian ancestry. Oh, I didn't know that. I was fair like a Fulani, but my next brother was darker like dad. The third brother was even lighter skinned. Coupled with our London accents, being fair meant we stood out in our new neighbourhood. Some kids put us on a pedestal, but others loathed us. I can relate to that. My darker brother was treated a bit differently by dad and me, and the other brother ensured we made a fuss of him as he had a low self-esteem. I was fortunate to be enrolled into a prestigious secondary school, King's College, the following year, and soon noted that I had gone one step down in the pecking order. KC was the school of choice for British expats, and 20% of the boys were mixed black-white. The half-caste, as they were known back then, and now archaic and offensive term, was sought after by girls and was seen as trophy boyfriends. The colorism was a clear consequence of British colonialism in African countries and perpetuated over future generations. As a grown-up, I dated women of different backgrounds and races, but purely based on shared interest and wit, rather than skin colour. However, it was when in relationships with lighter shaded women that I received open hostility or condemnation from black strangers, friends, and even my own dad. Thankfully, I'm assertive and confident and stood my ground, despite dad threatening to disown me. Ouch. Over the last decade, I believe there has been a change in what women seek in men. We all know women who crush on Idris Elba, though I'm not one of them. He really doesn't do it for me at all. I can appreciate that he's a nice looking man, but he's not my type at all. And judging by the random inbox messages I get, hello pappy, how was your night? Women are more concerned that an old man like me is getting a decent night's sleep than my complexion. Well, there you go. And thank you very much. And I always love your contributions to my show, because they're always so interesting and give such a broad perspective on the topic, and I think it's excellent. And it's true, and that's why I was saying in regards to the other person's comment that even if women like light-skinned guys, it's not to say that dark-skinned men are ugly. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, of any dark-skinned famous black sex symbol, because that's the word they use in the industry, that is female. If there is, jog my memory, I just can't think of one off the top of my head, which in itself means there aren't enough. Okay, so let's see what else you guys are saying. Hold on. There's lots of comments here. Let me keep scrolling. So Barry says, why are they useless if they think light? Why are they useless if they like light skin? I did explain that. I did explain that if they like light skin, that's fine. But if they like light skin to the detriment of dark skin, i.e. I like light skin because black is ugly. That was the point. I think I explained that. Okay, and you said if they like big boobs, to use one of your examples, I think I explained that. So I think that kind of covers the point. So, wow, only permitted entry to fair-skinned people. Yeah, which is ridiculous. Blessed Beyond Belief says, makeup on, oh, thank you, especially the black lipstick. I'm coming for tutorial. Let me tell you something about my makeup. My makeup, it turns out good by pure fluke. Believe you me. You have no idea. Amma says, I think it's about preference. Some men like light-skinned women and others love dark-skinned women. However, some men stay clear of light-skinned because of bleaching. Then they're not really light-skinned, they're bleached women. So I don't even want to disrespect light-skinned women or even putting them in the same category. You know, like I said, it's about preference. If you are a man that you like light-skinned women, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a man and you like dark-skinned women, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're saying you like light-skinned women because dark-skinned women are ugly, and I have heard this before, that's when I will call you useless. Because you are disrespecting the womb that you came from. Because I would assume that your mum is not light, and even if she was and you came out dark, do you know what, it actually does my head in. I think it's crazy. Abla, my dear big sister, says, if all you see is colours, then keep moving. If you don't see the real me and all you see is colour, then you are not my intellectual peer, and I'm sorry, I have to move on. But this is what I'm saying, and you need to see Abla. She's very dark. I think that one of the first things I said when I met her was, I love your colour. Like, it's really beautiful. Nanayal says, Dilly is a very intelligent woman. I'm glad I got the opportunity to come to this platform. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And, you know, the wisdom and knowledge comes from a lot of you guys as well, because we have this conversation together. It's not an hour of me talking at you. So I do appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom, you know, on this platform. Princess Diana says, I am light-skinned and my daughter is dark-skinned and her skin is absolutely beautiful. I always tell my daughter how beautiful she is and love how confident she is. And I wish I had the confidence that she has. We need to have these conversations with our children. Thank you for this conversation, MD. Thank you, my sweetheart. And yes, it's important. We must have these conversations. It is important. Anita says racial gaslighting. It's true. And you've got colorism gaslighting. Oh, it doesn't happen. It's not that bad. It is that bad because the trauma that we are suffering as a result of it is bad. Anything that promotes low self-esteem, anything that promotes trauma, anything that makes somebody feel less than is something that we have to have a conversation about and we have to address. Dochi says, what is so funny that many years ago it was part of the same country? I wish I'd come from that group. Nikki Cartel. Nick, which group? Oh, the group. Let me tell you, I wish I could find the name of it, but it was so disgraceful. What pained me was the stupid Ghanaians that were going into that group to say, I'm Ghanaian, but look at me, I'm not as dark, I'm light skinned. I'm thinking, you need Jesus. Well, Michelle says, oh, your comment on the Nigerians is so funny. I love Nigerians, don't play. They are my people in more ways than one. Princess says, I also often get, oh, you can't be Ghanaian. When asked why, I'm told because Ghanaians are not usually light-skinned. Oh, my days. I've heard that. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything. Princess, I beg. I don't trouble, I'm going to move on. Amma says, one of my Nigerian ex-colleagues told me when I visited Nigeria that she thought all Ghanaians were dark-skinned, was surprised my skin was brown. And this was just a couple of years ago. I know. You don't have to convince me, Amma. Trust me, I know. Diane says, Diane Gaston says, definitely need to have this convo with our children. If you have a black child, regardless of complexion, always let them know they are beautiful from the get-go. They need to feel confidence. It's hard out here. Black is beautiful. And it's very true. Hi, Leah. Thank you for joining. I can see that you're on here. Joyce Wilson as well. A good balanced discussion. Thank you very much, Joyce. Lovely to have you on here. Blessed Beyond Measure says, I am not surprised. I've been told many, many times I can't be Ghanaian because I'm a bit light-skinned. Not sure where that idea originated from. Neither do I. I've been told I can't be Ghanaian because I'm pretty. I'm not going to lie. I have been told that more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. How dare you question my Ghananaism? What the hell do you mean? I cannot be a Ghanaian because I am beautiful. What do you mean? So where do you think I come from? From heaven? Nonsense. But there you go. Hello, Dorothy Kolawole. Thank you for jumping on here. It's a blessing to have you on here. Thank you very much for joining. Naomi Campbell. Yes, Naomi Campbell, you're right. When I was talking about, a dark-skinned, deemed a sex symbol, that is true, Naomi Campbell, and she is gorgeous. Duchy says, yes, there are not enough. And I'm thinking, if we're having to rack our brains, yes, Viola Davis is beautiful, but she's not classed as a sex symbol. She's not classed as a beautiful woman, generally. I know Lupita is gorgeous, but then listen to, Lupita's story. So Essie Emo Agege says, really sad and ashamed as a Nigerian to hear such group exist or existed. Sis, I am telling you. I've often had people ask me if I'm Ghanaian because Ghanaians have a similar name to mine. That's true. When I say I'm not Ghanaian, then comes you're so dark like Ghanaians, making me feel like there is something so wrong with being dark. I am glad that you validated what I've said as a Nigerian. Not that people would think I was lying, but it is really quite ridiculous. And yes, that is out there. My darling sister, Yemisi Parker, I say thank you for being on here. I didn't see you because you are my heart and I would have given you a shout out. And Ikuya Sakudi as well. Guys, I only have a few minutes left. So what I am going to do is ask you to do one thing, which is if you haven't shared this video already, please kindly do so. And I'm going to quickly whiz through on what I think some of the solutions should be. And we've touched on a couple of them. Number one, do not deny that colorism exists. It does exist in every single place where you will find black people, whether it's in the UK amongst the black community, whether it's in Ghana as a whole country, whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in Uganda, whether it's in Jamaica. Trust me, Jamaicans can bleach. Lord God have mercy, them can bleach. Because again, they have bought into the nonsense. So it's not just us Africans that are lost when it comes to that. Generally, as black people, we're doing this and we need to stop it. So number one, I would say, do not deny that it exists and also the effects that it has on people. And I've touched on the trauma and I've likened it to how the effects that it has on us. The second thing, Denise, why are you laughing? You want me to go to Barbados? You want me to do my Bajan accent? I'm going to be good today. I can't believe you laughing at me, Denise Brewster. You're my friend, you're my sister, but anyway, I'm going to be good today. Anyway, let me just quickly read Yemisi Parker says, comment, my daughter is very dark and gorgeous. You dark chocolate dolly. That's so funny because I do get called a black dolly as well. And yes, those of you that were on series 1 of Speak with Dilys, Yaba, which is Yemisi Parker say's daughter, would read out the comments. Let me tell you, that child is pretty bad, If you see she dimple, she pretty bad. Why are you guys laughing? I think you laughing because I talk like I'm from Barbados. But anyway, it is what it is. So let me quickly go through these solutions because I've only got 2 minutes. Okay, so don't deny it exists and the effects that it has on people. Listen to people who have experienced it and empathize with them. What do I mean? I'm dark-skinned. I have never been disadvantaged when it comes to relationships. So, Joyce said my accents are spot on. Darling, I know. And actually, I know that in India, there is a caste system. People who are of darker complexion are deemed to be less attractive. And they bleach as well. But the problem and the point of fact is this. At the end of the day, I am talking about black people. So I'm not going to be talking about my beautiful Indian brothers and sisters. Darling. Okay. So right. Let me move swiftly on. Listen to people who have experienced it and empathize with them. Don't try and downplay what they have gone through because it's not good. This to me has got to be right. Stop laughing. This is important. This is the one for me. Push back on black people as a whole. Stop laughing. Push back on colorism as hard as we push back against racism. I will repeat. Push back on colorism as hard as we push back against racism. It's very, very, very important. Because if we start to change our mindsets, but you guys are still laughing. Oi, I need your attention. If we push back against this colorism thing, i.e. have our marches that all black people should be treated equally, regardless of their complexion, you wouldn't have the case that we had with these two lovely ladies, Rochelle Humes and Candice Braithwaite, where basically one was favoured over the other because one was deemed to have been, a better choice because she was lighter skinned, And the point of fact is, it was a documentary about why black women face 4 times the likelihood of death giving birth than their white counterparts. And then you go and pull a stunt like this, you know, and this is the problem. And I can relate to that because I nearly died having my son. I nearly died. If I had been in a place that, you know, whatever, I would not still be here. And I'm not going to give you the gory details, but that was one of the reasons why there's such a large age gap between my children, because I didn't want any more kids, because I thought that experience was just too horrific. So I'm saying that we need to push back as hard as we do against colorism as we do with racism. If we are able to do that, we will be effective and we will be intentional about trying to stamp this thing out. But more importantly, one person at a time can make that difference. Make that difference in your homes, because a lot of you perpetuate this nonsense by the comments that you make. Oh, you know, light-skinned babies are a lot cuter, and stupid comments like that. They're not helpful. You know, and I remember a lady, and I think I've mentioned this before. My time is up, so I'm going to say this really quickly. I remember I was an au pair for a lady who was mixed race, very beautiful woman, and she had a daughter. Now, she was one of those mixed race people that she looked Spanish. She didn't look mixed race. She looked Spanish. She was very, very light. Pretty lady. She had a daughter who was as black as night. You'd never believe that was her mother. Very, 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 very dark. Didn't look like her nothing. A bit like me and my son. That child was equally as, I mean, she was beautiful. Then she had a child. She married an English guy, and she had a child that came out with blonde hair and blue eyes. When I tell you the difference in treatment between these 2 children, it was sad. It was really, really sad. But I'm saying, my point is, as parents, we need to address it. Don't allow outsiders to make stupid comments about your children. It's important. And do your bit within your family and speak out. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed this edition of Speak with Dilys. Next week's show, and it's funny because I haven't quite thought about what I want to speak about next week, but I will probably put it in the description, or I will speak about it during the week, what we're going to be talking about next week. So I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Thank you very much for joining me. Happy Valentine's Day. Gentlemen, if there's somebody that you want to tell that you are interested in them, please don't be like the guy that was in my inbox this morning that was just telling me that, oh, hello, pretty. And I responded, good morning. And he responded, are you single because I fancy you? I'm like, how old are you, bruv? And he's like, I'm da-da-da-da. I'm like, listen, mate. So don't do that. Be classy and be nice, yeah? So thank you very much for this very important conversation. You are all beautiful. Dark-skinned ladies, you are beautiful. There's nothing that you need to do to your complexion to change it or enhance it. You don't need to do that. Light-skinned ladies, you are also beautiful. Do not feel that you have to dumb down who you are to accommodate us dark-skinned girls, because we're good. We're all right as we are. So guys, have a wonderful evening. God bless you all. Please share this video and I shall see you. And don't forget, in all your getting, get understanding, and don't forget that all things are permissible, not all things are wise. So guys, Tina says, how about not what to tell me next week? I'll let you know what the topic is. And guys, as I said, have a lovely evening. I'm 3 minutes over my time. That's not good. Love you all, and thank you very, very much for watching. God bless you. See you next week.